Forgot to take these off. Forgot to take them off. Welcome back to Grit Gym, guys. 12:30 weekdays. We come at you to talk about your health, your exercise, your mindset, your nutrition, and your recovery. Those are your 4 pillars of health. The 4 pillars of health that everybody has to have. Otherwise, your health is not on point. Okay? You got to have the mindset, the thing that nobody wants to dig into, that everybody's so scared of. They say, "Oh, I got that. I got a good mindset." No, you haven't confronted it. You haven't looked at it, and even if you did, or if you did, you'd realize how much more there actually is out there. Because like, even me, I've done a ton of mindset stuff. I've hired coach after coach after coach to help me map my mind, because I know that this is the secret to unlocking everything that I want in my life. And I'm only going to get one of these right here, right now anyway. Maybe I get more of them later on, whatever your beliefs are, but I think I'm only going to get this one for right now. Maybe I'm immortal, maybe I'm celestial, maybe I transcend time with my soul. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to have one time with this body at this moment with you right here, right now. So I'm going to try to live this one up to the biggest, most powerful, most amazing experience, the most incredible life that I possibly can live right here, right now. So if you're coming on here, please click share. Please slap that share. That was kind of hard to say. Please slap that share button and send this out if you like our message. If you want to support us, please like and share these videos. It means the world to me. It's a very humbling thing when you guys hop on these calls and ask questions and interact, and it makes it really fun. So please do that. And if you're coming at me later, if you're watching this video later, if it's not 12:33 p.m. on Monday, August, what is the 14th? I totally understand. Please comment below. I'll comment. I always write back to every one of them. But what are we talking about today? We're talking about you're the only one that can make your life incredible. You're the only one that can make your life incredible. Okay, this is a mindset thing. This is one of the most freeing, one of the greatest, one of the most difficult things you're probably ever going to do. Is take 100% responsibility for 100% of your life, the bad stuff, the good stuff, and the stuff that you think happened to you, and the stuff that you might not even realize you're letting happen to you. Okay, think about a few of these. These are my stable datums. These are things that I say to me on a regular basis, so that I am putting this in my head. I'm putting this in my head, and I'm mulling this over so that I can challenge my mindset. I can challenge my subconscious. I can challenge what's going on upstairs. And there's a lot of this going around right now with everything that happened in Charlottesville this past week with the hate groups, basically, because there's more and more. People don't realize how many hate groups are really spurring out of this one hate group. Okay, CNN, ABC, NBC, Fox, ESPN, all these different news stations picked up this story and they spread the hate. And then the protests started to hate against the hate. So all these people that are protesting, that are hating the hatred, they're bigots too. They are spreading hate too. You cannot, spreading hate, what's that going to do? Hating a hate group, what's that going to do? Having compassion for that hate group might do something. And this is one of the topics around taking responsibility for your thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors. Because if you don't do that, you're at the whim of everything that's around you. Okay? Everything that's around you. Whether it's like, oh, I get sad when the weather cries. Why? Who says you got to be sad? Or when the weather, I get sad and cry when the weather is bad. That's what I meant to say. When the weather is bad, when it's raining or when it's cloudy, I get sad. Why would you allow your environment to have that much control over your life? Why would you give your power away to the weather? I realize Mother Nature is this vast, wonderful, amazing thing. And I completely agree. However, why would you give your power away like that? Okay, if anything, we came from the earth and we're going to go back to the earth. So if you want to say that you have a symbiotic relationship with Mother Nature, then you do. So you better build that relationship. However, that doesn't mean Mother Nature, just like your parent doesn't want you to feel sad because they feel sad, you wouldn't want to feel sad because Mother Nature feels sad, would you? Don't do that, okay? Responsibility, okay? These are a few of my, I don't know if you call them stable datums, but there's things that, there's little sayings. The little sayings help out a lot. You know, having a little quote to put in your head, having a little pep, having a little pep in your step, okay? Having a little something that you can read, encourage yourself. Having a framework that you can challenge your mindset is a really big deal, okay? So, a couple of them. If it's meant to be, it is up to me, okay? You think that one might have do you get what I'm saying there? If it's meant to be, it's up to me. Okay, people used to say that I remember I dated this girl my freshman year of college. Okay, I dated this girl my freshman year of college, and I met her brothers, and I remember, I don't think they liked me very much, just guessing, which is okay. I don't know, whatever. But what they kept saying was, if it's meant to be, if it's meant to be. And I was like, what is it? I was like, okay, well, yeah, if it's meant to be, I suppose. But if it is meant to be, if you're meant to have the six-pack, if you're meant to be strong, if you're meant to live the life of your dreams, if you're meant to grow wealth or have the most amazing relationship on earth, or to command your time, or to have your health, your wealth, your relationships, and your time on point, if it's meant to be, it is up to you, just like it is up to me. So in my head, what I say to myself, if it is meant to be, it is up to me. Okay, if it puts 100% of my experience on, or my responsibility is my experience. 100% of my experience in this life, same as you, whether you want to outsource it or not, because you can't outsource this thing. You can try, but it's futile. Okay, so if you try to do that, it's not going to work out. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. If it's going to happen, it's because I'm going to make it happen. Okay, just like you. You wake up every morning. You get the choice to be happy or sad, or happy. Well, sad is a powerful emotion. I should not rescind that statement. Sad is a very powerful emotion that you want to. Sad just means that you're out of harmony, and you can't feel joy when you're out of harmony with your. We're not going to go into that. Okay. You wake up every morning, you get to decide whether you're going to be all pissed off that day, you're going to feel like you're not good enough that day, you're going to be anxious that day, or whether you're going to be happy and you're going to be all in that day, all in with you, you're going to love yourself that day. You get those two choices every morning. Every moment you get those two choices. So really think about that. You get those two choices every single day, and it is 100% up to you. Do you get it? If it's meant to be that you're supposed to be happy, if it's meant to be that you're supposed to be in great health, if it's meant to be that you're supposed to be wealthy or have great relationships, then it is up to you, just like it is up to me. I get to make that choice, whether I'm going to feel I'm going to be not good enough today, or I'm going to be all in today, or I'm going to love myself today. I get to make that choice every morning. So do you. Okay. Another one. Nothing happens to you. It happens because of you. This is a tough one. This is a tough one, especially if you've had bad things happen in your life, especially if you actually been the victim of something. Okay? Because as soon as that moment is gone, as soon as that moment is gone, you are no longer the victim. You were the victim of that scenario. You are no longer the victim. You see people play this out. Okay, you study relationships as much as I have. You'll see that a lot of the narration and stories, and you'll see a lot of the experiences that people, and this is a touchy subject, okay, so just stick with me here for a second. People who have been the victim of molestation or rapes or these kind of things, they will almost set themselves up for the type of betrayal that happened in that scenario later on in their life. It's really sad. Okay, I forget what it's called. It has a psychological term, but they'll set themselves up for it. They'll only be attracted to the kind of person that will betray them in the way that they were betrayed when they were a little girl or a little boy or whatever scenario they're in. It's super, super, super sad, okay? But later on in life, they are setting themselves up for this. Nothing happens to you. It happens because of you, okay? If you slam your brakes, the car behind you might hit you in the rear. Maybe they were following too close and it's their fault. However, it still happened because of you. You get what I'm saying? It didn't happen to you. You're not a victim. You're not a victim anymore. Nothing happens to you. It happens because of you. This isn't a way to not trick your mind, but get your mind wrapped around this idea that you are 100% responsible for everything that happens in your life. Everything that, all this reaction that you see on social media about the Charlottesville stuff, about the North Carolina stuff with the, whatever it is. I didn't watch the news. I didn't look this stuff. I looked it up just enough to know where it was happening and that there was a bunch of hate spread around it. But it is your responsibility or it is not, how do I say this? If you are taking this and you are hating back on that, that's on you. That's a responsibility that you're giving out, that you're giving away. Now you're making yourself the victim of something that you weren't a part of. So it becomes this like really nasty give and take that you're putting yourself into. It's kind of like saying, I feel so bad for. Like, it's like, well, yeah, I get that saying. I understand that you're showing empathy or you think that you are, but really you're just putting yourself in the victim category, trying to, I get it, this is a touchy subject, but you're putting yourself, think about it for a second, just abstract, put yourself out of a scenario, take your heart out of your chest, and look at it super logically objective. Okay, I feel sorry for, like, you're feeling sorry for something that is happening to somebody else. Like, that scenario might be sad. It might really be sad, and that is completely understandable. However, you saying, I feel so bad for, does that mean that you're putting yourself in the victim category with them? You're identifying with the victim when you are not the victim. It's sad, no doubt about it. It's sad. It's so sad when certain things happen. But a lot of people, me included, I've had to challenge this in my own life, will want to put themselves in the victim category so much. They're so willing to put themselves in the victim category that they will seek out other people's problems to be able to push themselves into that victimhood. Okay, this is also sad. Why would you want to do this? This is no different than walking down the street and someone bumps into you and pushes you away and says, hey, fuck you, buddy. And you get all mad at them and you get in this back and forth bickering fight, right? Okay, you just put yourself in the victim category. Hey, you just put yourself in the, who are you to? Or who do you think that you are? Or you're such an asshole. Okay, this is one of my favorite. The best thing about the world having assholes is that if we didn't have them, we really would be full of shit. I've been wondering when I was going to be able to make that joke on this show, but I've always liked that joke. But okay, another stable Batum. You are the only one who can make your life incredible. I know that's what's written in the deal up here, but really you are the only one. Who else is going to get inside of your head? Nobody else lives up here but you. Nobody else lives inside of my head but me. This has been a solo trip inside my head. I've never let anybody else in, and no one's ever come in. I've never been inside of anybody else's mind. No one else can have my experience but me. You're watching this right now having a completely different experience than somebody else that is watching this. I'm watching myself doing this right now having a completely different experience than what you are having. You are basing the experience that you're having right now on all of your past experiences. I am basing it on the foundation of what I have built up to this point in my life, just like you, but they're two separate foundations. They're different. They're going to have different perspectives. We're going to not think quite the same, but we can seek understanding within that medium so that we can understand each other and so that we can have a cooperative discussion around what we agree or disagree upon, which is a very good thing. You want disagreements. You want to disagree with people. I want people that come on this show to confront me on things that I might not be thinking of. I also want to have disagreement. I want people to disagree with me because then I get to learn a new perspective. Do you see? Disagreements are great. You wouldn't want to have a relationship where you never disagreed. You want disagreements. You want challenge. You want confrontation because that's where you grow. Not only that, but the way that I define intelligence is based on a number of perspectives that one is willing to acquire. So the more perspectives I get, the more intelligent I get. The more intelligent I get, the more people that I can positively influence or influence in a positive way. Okay, what's my big goal? Why do I do all this social media stuff? Because I want to help billions of people. I want to affect billions of people in a positive way. That's my big goal in life. I want to affect billions of people in a positive way. Okay, if you're on that goal, if you're on board with that goal, please slap that share button and send this out to everybody that you know. But you are the only one who can make your life incredible because this is a solo trip that you're going through up here. Not even your mother who brought you into this world has ever been inside your brain. Okay? You are the only one that can make your life incredible. All right? Another one that I continually roll through my head just to make sure that I am on the right track, that I'm putting my responsibility back on me, which is not always easy. Sometimes it's very difficult. It might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. If you are not where you want to be in your life, it might not be your fault. It really might not. Like you can't control the genetics that you were that you have in this life. Your genetics might make you predisposed to diabetes. It might make you predisposed to being overweight. It might make you predisposed to certain things. That doesn't mean that you are going to become those. It means that you are going to have an easier time getting injured, having diabetes, gaining weight. It might be a little easier for you to go to those places. Okay? There's pros and cons to all this, but so it might not necessarily be your fault. If you were born into a middle-class home, well, then you have a middle-class mindset. It might not be your fault that you're not a billionaire. If you were born into poverty, well, it might not be your fault that you were born into, it's definitely not your fault that you were born where you were born, with what genetics, with what you cannot control, right? But it is your responsibility for what you do in your life. It's your responsibility. You are 100% responsible for everything in your life. The more of that you take, the more you free your mind. Okay? Give me the responsibility. Now, when does it become whose nonsense is whose? Whose responsibility is whose? This, I think, is the big question. And it's not always super clear. I think the more that we gain discussion, the more we talk about certain things, then we can get clear with whose nonsense it is. But if we're just staying from a 30,000 foot view, your anger, your anxiety, your guilt, your worry, your embarrassment, those are on you. You might think that I caused you. Let's say we're in a scenario where you think that let's take Rach. I embarrass Rach all the time. Okay, all the time. She's constantly blushing, or she's like, "Oh my God, stop!" I do it all the time. I get a huge kick out of it. Now, is her embarrassment on her, or is it on me? Okay, I'm kind of being a little bit of a jerk and really and pushing it a little bit, but it's still her responsibility in how she's going to respond. If she responds with being embarrassed, with blushing, and with being all goofy and silly and going all introverted and like, "Oh my God, I want to run away from you so bad," that's on her. Okay, it's my responsibility that I'm pushing on it. So it's two different responsibilities there. But your anger, guilt, anxiety, worry, embarrassment, those are on you. Mine are on me. So if you get angry at me, well, that's on you. That's not on me. Okay, I go over this pretty early on with people at Grit Gym. Is that in the first couple weeks, or sometimes even in the first visit, something will come up, something about somebody else will come up where someone will try to give me the responsibility for someone else's success. Like, there's a woman at the gym, she lost over 100 pounds in her first year working out with us at Grit Gym. Now, that's not me bragging, because I didn't do it. I didn't take the food off of her plate. I didn't make her do the exercises. I didn't do the exercises for her. I didn't tell her, I told her when to go to bed, but I wasn't there transporting her into bed. It's not my responsibility. So I cannot say that I'm the reason that she was successful. I also take 0% of the responsibility for someone's success, and I take 0% of the responsibility for someone's failure. You want as much of your outcome, as much as your result to be on you as you possibly can. I refuse to steal that from somebody else. You see this doing with when trainers talk about, or coaches talk about the results they got for so-and-so, and it's like, I did this and I did that, and it's like, no, you didn't, dude. They did that. You might have pointed in a direction, but they did that. I might have pointed a direction for Cindy at the gym, but Cindy had to do it. Okay, I didn't get to do it. So whose nonsense is whose? Who's the asshole? I think it kind of depends on the situation, but for the most part, you are your responsibility. The other person is their responsibility. You do not share in that responsibility necessarily. You have your own, and they have theirs. If it's meant to be, it is up to me. If it's meant to be that you're going to be happy, if it's meant to be that you're going to have the greatest relationship of all time, if it's meant to be that you're going to have incredible health, if it's meant to be that you're going to build wealth in your life, then it is up to you, just like it is up to me to do in mine. Okay? Nothing happens to me. Everything happens because of me. There's nothing in this life that didn't happen because I didn't make it happen. Put that in your head for a few months and start noticing how often those things come up. If it's up, or if, sorry, nothing happens to you, it happens because of you. Mull that around. You'll start seeing it. You'll start seeing it over and over and over and over everywhere. You'll start seeing how often you can take the responsibility for something and how often you're not taking responsibility for something. Okay? And usually it's in, you won't take responsibility for the things that that could get you where you want to go, and you will take the responsibility for the things that, or you won't take the responsibility for the things that are going to not get you where you want to go, and you won't take advantage of the things that are going to get you where you want to go. But keep in mind that the victim mindset is rampant in the responsibility game. And maybe rampant is the wrong word, but responsibility and victim do not go hand in hand. You cannot put yourself on the chopping block and take responsibility at the same time. I'm sure there's a scenario out there that happens, but it's probably some cheap drama, or it's probably some really dramatic, like overly, maybe not cheap drama, but there's a lot of cheap drama coming around on social media about this whole Charlottesville thing. So one of the things that, and I brought this up 3 times now, so I should probably talk about it, but what I would propose is that if people are going to put stuff on social media, if you're going to put something out there, please, this is my humble request, make it educational, make it entertainment, make it enlightening, make it inspirational, or make it positive. Okay, trying to fight hate with hate, and you're just going to burn the house down. That's like, I just skipped my metaphor before but if you're trying to fight fire with fire, everything's going to burn to the ground. If you look, what was that guy's name? He was a black guy that went into a hate group and had a long discussion with all of them. By the end, you would have thought that they were friends. He was just extremely understanding. He was curious to why they thought the way they did. He did not go in attacking them. He went in to seek understanding, and that is how I base what I base compassion on. Compassion to me is based on understanding. The more you understand me, the more you're going to be able to have compassion for me. The more I understand you, the more compassionate I'm going to be able to be about you. So the things that we disagree upon, if I can understand where you're coming from, if I can understand your point, if I can understand, and a lot of people jump to that, oh, I do understand. If you're still arguing, then you don't understand. If it's still competitive, then you don't understand. So you really want to, if you can build that understanding to the point where you can have that discussion, then everybody's winning. It's not a competition where one person loses and one person wins. Both win. Everybody wins. So with all this stuff that's happening on social media, with all the hate that's spreading around this, I'm really hoping that with this being this brought up, is that the protests can turn more towards learning how to understand that hate group, and the hate group will lose its power because of that. If you take away the hate group's platform, what can they do? They can't do anything. If CNN doesn't report this story, you'd think, oh my God, the CNN's a terrible people. But if they don't report this story, they take away the platform. And if the platform is taken away, what are people going to hear? If you take away all of this nasty stuff, if you just stop watching the news, basically that's what I'm saying. If you stop watching the news, life gets a whole lot better. I haven't watched the news in years. Okay, news has become, I don't know if it ever was anything different, but it's entertainment. It's just entertainment. And they need viewers. Whatever gets you riled up, that gets you sucked in. They need engagement to be able to sell their advertisement. And nothing wrong with making money. Like, it's an exchange. They're giving you entertainment and you're giving them engagement so that they can sell advertising space so that they can make money. There's nothing wrong with that. That is completely fine. The problem is that all like the negative garbage that you had go into your head, all this garbage up there that is causing this emotional response in not a good way. So my hope is that if people can go through those 5, if it's enlightening, if it's inspirational, if it's positive, if it's educational, what was the other one? If it's entertaining, I don't remember. If it's funny, maybe that was it. But responsibility, the more responsibility you take for you in your life, the better everything becomes in your life. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. If it's meant to be in your life, it is up to you. Okay? Nothing happens to you. Nothing happens to me. Everything happens because of you. Everything happens in your life. Everything happens because of you in your life. Everything in my life happens because of me. Okay? Careful when you start saying, I feel bad for. That's putting yourself in the victim category. Careful saying, apologizing a lot. Okay? A lot of times this is putting yourself in the victim category. A lot of times there's nothing to apologize for. Really, I'm of the perspective that all apologies are pointless. If you wanted to do something, tell the person what you learned. I'm sorry just negates what you learned. If you said, I'm sorry, well, I'm going to do it again in 5 minutes. But if you say, hey, I did this with my nephew one time. It was like 45 minutes with a 4-year-old, trying to get him to see, just playing Socratic method, and just be like, well, how would you like to, if someone threw rocks at your toys? Because he was throwing rocks at cars, and by the end of it, he was like, I should not throw rocks at cars. I was like, yes, that's exactly what you should do. Is that what you learned? He's like, yes, I learned to not throw rocks at cars. It was like 45 minutes of just like, oh boy, can I actually do this? But I wasn't, he kept on saying, I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry for me didn't cut it. It's like, well, I don't care if you're sorry, kid. Tell me what you learned. And eventually we got there. 45 minutes with a 4-year-old on one subject was pretty tough. I had to pull out all the stops. But you're the only one who can make your life incredible. No one else has ever lived up here but you. No one else has ever lived in my head but me. So you're the only one that's going to be able to make your life incredible. You can bring other people to help you, to help influence you, and to help you learn and help give you a framework to grow from where you already are, but you have to take the action to do that. It is up to you to do all those things. And it might not be your fault. It might not. It really might not. But it is your responsibility. It was 100% your responsibility to take on and to execute on what you want in your life. I hope that you guys can get something out of this video. My whole thing is inspire the experience that you want to live. And it's not about me inspiring your experience. It's about you inspiring yours. Okay? The experience that you get in this life, the experience that you have in this life, you don't get it. The experience that you take, the experience that you take responsibility for in this life, that's the only thing that you could potentially take with you when you go. So you want to have the most incredible experience you can possibly have, and I hope that for you. But anyway, thanks guys for being here. We're going to be back tomorrow. We have an interview tomorrow with Doug. He's a kettlebell guy, a really interesting person. Excited to have the interview. We had to reschedule a few times, so tomorrow with Doug Fiorinelli. Anyway, thanks guys for being here. I appreciate it. Please hit the share button, and if you like it and you comment, I'll come back and be able to respond to your comments later. So thanks guys. See you soon.